Well, we learned to work. I mean, and you had to keep your mind on your business, but you also had to keep the customer in mind too. The old saying that the customer is always right, basically that's true. That is true. But you have to teach the customer too. But you got to teach the customer to build up confidence in him and you. And I'd say would be one of the bigger stories at this business. If he could talk, he'd tell you they tried to teach the customer, and in turn, they developed a business. It did not start in this building here. It started the next building east of us here. We were there from 36 to 46, and that took us all the way through the war, World War II. And moved to this building in the fall of 46. Now this building here was the old Randolph County Bank. It went under during the Depression. I don't know what else was in here, but my dad had bought this building. It had been a grocery store for some time. They called him JM, he's Junius Marion, but they called him JM. We moved in here, moved out of that building, and we've been here ever since. Of course, there's been a lot of changes. Western Auto, they started what they call the franchise business in 1935. He borrowed $1,000 from his uncle there, my dad was named after him. He was the governor of the state, but they got that thing paid back in less than 5 years. Of course, back then times were hard. I grew up in it. I was putting up stock by the time I was about 5 years old. I mean, we almost lived in it. Well, we spent more time at the store than we did at home. Because the hours we worked with, a lot of times you would open up 6 o'clock in the morning, see, and sometimes earlier. And then it was always down here till at least 7 o'clock, and sometimes it'd be midnight. I had made up my mind, because I grew up in it and all, and that's what I wanted to do. And so I started college. And finished there, but then I decided going up to the University of Arkansas then, and I went straight through at the University of Arkansas to get a master's degree, and then came back here. I was about 22 years old, well, nearly 23. It cost about $20,000 at that time. That was a lot of money to get into business. My dad loaned me the whole amount. I didn't have, as old boy said, I didn't have a pot to pee in or a window to throw it out of. Well, of course, I had to go to the Western Auto School, which is in Kansas City, Missouri. You had to take a week's schooling. It was a good school. Don't misunderstand me. It was a good school, all right. But there was probably about 20 people in that school. But I'm going to say within 5 years, nearly all of them were out of business because they had the wrong idea. They thought they could just sit there at that cash register and take in the money, and it's not that. It didn't work that way. You got to treat the customer right. In other words, be honest. In other words, tell the truth. In other words, don't sell a product you have no confidence in. Don't sell junk. Just remember this: goods well bought or half sold. Don't forget that. That's well bought or half sold. And if it's not, you're going to lose. we were brought up to repair things. If you had a garden plow, you broke a handle in it, you went and bought a handle and you put it in there. Either that or you made your own handle. You see, things were built. They were built to be repaired, not to be thrown away. If you come in here, let's say that you come in here and you ask me, say, well, I've got a push mower out here and it's got a brake strap motor on it, and said, I want to buy a coil for it. I said, well, do you need a coil? Have you tested your coil? Well, no. Well, then I show them. I said, well, take your spark plug out, ground it to your head, and I said, get somebody to help you and pull it, and see if it fires. Get you a new spark plug, see if it fires. I wasn't trying to sell them something they didn't need, so they depend on that for me to tell them he'll get you the right product if you'll listen. The thing in small business, you've got to change with the times too. When you're born in 1935, you get to counting. As the scripture says, you're soon cut off, and I'm in the soon cut off period. And so I told my wife, I said, something happens to me, as quick as you can, get it auctioned off. I said, you don't need a headache. And that's what it would be. Sure, I should have been out of this thing long ago, but I'm like the old horse that's been going around the sorghum mill, you know. I've been going around so long I can't get out of it. The truth is the store here has lasted longer than any. I don't know if there's any Western Auto stores all now that exist as such, but Western Auto itself has been going about 15 years. Well, it's been for sale, but you know, you can't borrow money from a bank on inventory. You can't do that. You gotta have other assets, and you could make it in the chainsaw chain, sprockets, belts, and blades, spindles. Like I say, this is something to work with, not to play with. You've got to change too with things. You've got to do that which will make a profit for you. As my dad said, son says, I don't care whether you make 50 cents a day or $100 a day, if you don't save some of it, there's going to be a rainy day. And he's right. Okay, that deer head was given to my dad in 1933, but it was killed by my great uncle, now, who was the governor of the state. He killed it in 1908 out from Langee Bottom, down from Newport down there. But I put it up there in the fall of '46 up there, and it's been up there ever since.